Hello, everyone. I'm Lenny Pinna, and I'm the editor of this book, A Face from Uranus, Correspondence between Tedd Burr and Henry Bellamann, 1943 to 1945. I'm also the screenwriter for the limited TV series In the Name of Jamie Wakefield, which is based on the letters published in the book. So, if you've already seen the pilot and episode 2 of In the Name of Jamie Wakefield, Too Pretty for a Boy, you're ready for episode 3, which I'm beginning now. If this is your first time dropping in, feel free to listen or watch, and you might want to go back and look at the pilot or some of the other dramatic readings at any time. So, I told you in episode 2 how I spent most of my energy really refining episode 1, the pilot, because that's what a producer needs to see. The other episodes are done, but they also still have work in progress. There can be some refinements, change of sequence, or some refining of dialogue, things like that. So I've been working on episode 3, preparing for these readings, and so I went to print out the copy today, and I'm out of printer ink. So I'm reading this off of my computer, which means you are right up to date with the latest version of episode 3. I'm calling it Arts and Science. Interior of a photography studio, Bellevue, Ohio, day. Ted stands at the counter. The photographer opens a large envelope. Photographer, I think you're going to be pleased. He takes Ted's new photos out of the stiff envelope. Oh, it's exactly what I wanted. I must say, you do look quite stunning. Thank you so much. I love it. I'm going to take a moment to show you the photograph of Tedd Burr that was taken in 1943. And yes, it is the cover of the book, A Face from Uranus. The photographer presents Ted with the sales slip. It's been my pleasure. You can see I took 10% off the bill since you are a returning customer. Ted smiles sheepishly. We cut to the interior of Henry's study, daytime. Henry enters carrying a stack of mail. Standing near his desk, he opens a large envelope and slides out Ted's manuscript. There's a close-up of the title, The Surf in Terror Fled, a novel by Tedd Burr. Henry turns over the title page and discovers a few pictures of Ted. 2 small snapshots accompany his frowning senior year photograph. The snapshots depict Ted as he appears currently. Henry studies the photographs. Cut to the interior of an ice cream parlor in Bellevue. Jean sits in a booth waiting. Ted arrives excitedly. Sorry I'm late. I picked up my new photos. Oh, let me see. Ted slides out the photos. Ted, you're so beautiful. You think so? I've never seen anything like it. I wanted it to look like an actor's photograph. That's exactly what it looks like. I'm going to send one to Henry Bellamann. I'm hoping maybe he could help me either as a writer or as an actor. The waitress arrives to wipe down the table. Hi, kids. Who's that picture of? It's Ted. Isn't he beautiful? I'll say, but you probably should put that away before they get ruined on a wet table. As the waitress finishes wiping the table, Ted slides pictures back into the envelope. He remembers to pull one out for Jean. The waitress leaves with her wet towel. This one's for you, Jean. Oh, Ted, thank you so much. Will you sign it? Sure. He looks around. I need a pen. The waitress returns with a couple glasses of water. Jean, excuse me, can we borrow a pen for a minute? I want Ted to sign his photograph. Here you go. Do you kids want your usual sundaes? Ted, I do. I do too. As the waitress exits, Ted touches the table. Still a little wet. I can wait till later. One moment. Ted gets up and uses a nearby table to sign the photograph. He ends his stylish signature with a flourish, and presents it to Jean as he sits. Here you go. Oh, Ted, I'll cherish it forever. Jean leans over to give him a kiss on the cheek. Cut to the interior of Henry's study, day. Henry sits in the chair by the window, reading Ted's manuscript. Catherine knocks and enters. What have you got there? It's a novel from the boy in Ohio. That troubled boy from Bellevue? He wrote a novel? It's his first attempt. I told him I would read it to see how good or bad it is. It looks pretty lengthy. I'm sure it's some sort of wish fulfillment. Wouldn't it be more productive if you were working on your own novel instead of reading someone else's? Think of it as research. You said helping him with his plight might help me with my own. Yes, but I hope you don't get drawn in more than you bargained for. You don't need any more distractions. Time will tell. You don't have all the time in the world, you know. Are you referring to my health? No, I'm referring to your professional obligations. There are many people counting on you. Was there a reason you came in? Yes. I'm letting you know that I have a vocal coaching session this morning at 11 o'clock. Thanks for the warning. I'll probably go swimming. It's with the actress Lucy Ball. Oh? She's starring in a new movie with Gene Kelly and Red Skelton. How did this come about? She contacted Estelle for voice lessons, and Estelle recommended me. Good for you. Perhaps I'll wait to go swimming. I thought you might want to meet her. You know me so well. Yes, I'll leave you to your reading. Cut to the exterior of the State Theater in Bellevue during the day. Carrying the envelope with photos, Ted walks toward the State Movie Theater. The marquee advertises the new movie. Du Barry Was a Lady, starring Red Skelton, Gene Kelly, and Lucy Ball. Ted stops in the lobby to look at the movie poster. Crossfade to the interior of Bellamann's living room. Sitting at the piano, Catherine coaches Lucy Ball. Henry walks down the hall and stops to look in. Catherine. Oh, this is my husband, Dr. Henry Bellamann. Henry, this is Lucy Ball. Lucy. It's lovely to meet you. I enjoyed King's Row very much. Henry. Well, thank you. I'm delighted to make your acquaintance. Henry's working on the sequel to King's Row even as we speak. Really, you don't say. I'm sorry, I haven't seen your film yet. Oh, no need to be sorry. I didn't read your novel either. I saw the film. Close enough. If you do happen to see the film, don't be too impressed by my singing because it's not my voice. My songs were dubbed in with another voice. Except for the last song, that's my voice. Really? I didn't know they did that sort of thing. It's the first time they've done it at MGM. That's why I'm here. I see. Well then, I shall leave you to your work. It was a pleasure to meet you, Lucy. It was a pleasure meeting you. Kitty, I won't be back for lunch. I'm meeting John Fletcher. You are? He called. He's in town. How lovely. Have him give my regards to Charlie. I miss seeing her. I will. I'll let you get back to your work. Lucy, shall we? We shall. Lucy waves with her fingers goodbye to Henry. He smiles. Cut to The interior of the Burr home, day. Not wanting to be seen, Ted rushes through the living room en route to his bedroom. Coincidentally, Ted starts up the staircase just as his brother Jerry is descending. His mother Helen enters from the kitchen. Ted moves his envelope to the opposite side, making it less noticeable to Jerry. Neither acknowledge each other. Ted, excuse me. Jerry avoids eye contact but feels brushed aside by Ted's quick pace. After Ted passes, Jerry turns his back to glare and make a face at Ted from behind. By this time, Helen reaches the bottom of the staircase. Was that Teddy? I don't know, was it? Is that any way to answer? Jerry continues to pass by her. It is to me. Jerry exits, and exasperated, Helen exits back to the kitchen. Jump cut to the interior of Ted's bedroom. Ted sits at his desk typing, and we hear his voiceover. Dear Mr. Bellamann, I'm sending you my new portrait, the one I had taken to commemorate my life in case I was drafted. Fortunately, the Army didn't take me, but you did, and I'm so grateful. Cut to the interior of a restaurant in New York City, day. Henry and the poet, John Gould Fletcher, finish ordering their lunch from the waiter, who takes their menus. I'm glad you were available to meet. I was only too happy to get your call. I needed to come back to New York again, desperately. That sounds ominous. You know, over the years, I've always come for inspiration. This time I came for regeneration. You do seem troubled. Believe it or not, my depression started all over again after I won the Pulitzer. Ah, I see. At first, I felt the joy and celebration of it all, but not long after it felt like it heralded the end, as if it signified the culmination of my work. I must admit, something similar has been afflicting me. The enormous success of King's Row has cast a giant shadow over everything. I can now see how much I got comfortable with my work being liked by more and more people. Through the years, my creativity settled into an aesthetic which satisfied a wider range of taste, even though personally I felt I was losing my intuitive impulse. Perhaps the way for us to go forward is to return to our roots and start the process all over again. Perhaps, or perhaps we no longer have the need or want to produce anything new at all. Perhaps breathing, eating, and just living life is enough. John, for heaven's sake, you can't be serious. No wonder you're depressed. That kind of thinking would certainly depress me. John suddenly bursts into uncharacteristic rolling laughter. Henry looks around uncomfortably to see who might be disturbed by John's outburst. Thank you, Henry. Oh my goodness. I haven't laughed like that in years. What's so funny? I guess I just needed to hear those words from someone else. And I guess you sounded like my mother. I'm already feeling better. I wish I could say the same. The waiter returns with their drinks. John offers his glass. Henry joins him. The glasses clink. Sound fades in, a bright rendition of Mozart's Exultante Jubilante 165K first movement, and it underscores the following montage. We're at the interior of Tedd's bedroom during the day. Tedd wraps a framed photograph for mailing. We are now in the Burr home where Tedd quietly walks down the steps, passing his high school picture. He stops for a moment to look at it and then smiles as if to say, "Goodbye forever." He then looks over the staircase railing to make sure no one is around before descending the rest of the staircase. We're now outside the Burr home where Tedd is passing his grandmother sitting in her usual chair staring forward. "Hi, Grandma." He gives her a kiss on the forehead. She turns her head. "Don't tell anyone. I want to move to New York. Wish me luck." We're now at the downtown Bellevue streets where Tedd is walking past the street where Joan commits suicide. He stops, looks down the street at the side of the building. "I'm sorry, Joan. This is a voiceover. I'm sorry, Joan. I hope you're at peace now. If there's anything you can do to help me leave this place, I'd be so grateful to you. Amen." Cut to the exterior of the State Theater in Bellevue. Tedd stops to look at all the movie posters outside the ticket office. In Tedd's imagination, one of the posters transforms into the poster size of his new photograph. Tedd Burr starring in The Surf in Terror Fled. Tedd smiles. We're now in the interior of the post office, Bellevue. Tedd hands his package to the postal clerk to pay for postage. Postal worker, "Will that be first class, please?" We then are at the exterior of the post office. Tedd exits with a lightness of spirit. He takes a moment to stop and look at the town and all the people moving about. He begins to imagine. The imagined reality is the town of Bellevue freezes into a tableau. All of the people are frozen. Tedd, with the music, is freely moving through the town, smiling at everyone. And we'll dissolve out of that scene and end there for this segment. So thank you for joining me for the beginning of episode 3, Arts and Science. And if you have any questions or comments, or now that you've seen episode 1 and 2 and you're starting to see how it's running through into 3 or back and forth, feel free to make comments and we'll continue the discussion. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.